Hey everyone, I just thought this week we might do a bit of a check-in on how things are going around the garden. Our last couple of videos have been showing you how to do things, but I thought it might be time to check in on a couple of projects that we've set up in the last few videos and see how they're going. So recently we've done the pumpkin patch, we've done the tomato experiment starting off. There was a cheap, easy hydroponic setup thing that we should check in on too. So a bit going on, but let's start out in the veggie patch. So here behind me you might be able to see we've done a little bit of a clean up through this area here. The broad beans have been removed. They just had their time. What was scraggly left over got smashed with some rain that we had the other night, and so when we came out in the morning it was all bent over itself and it was just time for it to go. The weather's been kind of weird. It was getting quite warm there, and then we had a few days where it was in the high 30s, and then suddenly we're getting a whole bunch of rain, which is good because it's been really dry for a long time, so it's actually really nice to get some rain. But the switching up of the temperatures and whatnot has made the garden go a little bit crazy. Our radish and broccoli there have just gone to seed because the weather just made it go crazy. Obviously the broccoli is one that just, if the temperatures are all over the place, they're going to struggle with doing what they're meant to do. So that's happened to us again, happened to us last year. We don't have good luck with broccoli, but the cauliflower's down here and it's looking like it might be okay, but we'll still have to wait a little while to see how that goes. When things like this go to seed, we actually keep them going for a little while and don't just get rid of them straight away, because the bees adore having the flowers out and about. So we keep them as a little gift to the bees. Down in this area we've got the bologna beans. They're going really well. The one that we've talked about prior, the tiny little one that snapped off from the magpie and struggled, is still alive and kicking, but it's definitely fallen behind the others. These two that are on the left have just gone gangbusters more than the two that are on the right. Having said that, the ones on the right have definitely got beans going on, which is really cool. But yeah, it's just funny the difference in sizing when there's not much different going on in the bed. For some reason the ladybugs really love the bologna beans, so it's kind of cute to see them around. There's some zucchinis that are just going feral here. They're so big. There's this one here, this massive one just behind here, there's that one, this one over here. So a lot of zucchini things in our future for sure. We've got some yellow ones going on back there. The yellow ones are still doing really well as well, but they're not going as crazy as the green ones in size. We've got the squash growing down here. They're the ones that look like UFOs. There's a really, I'll fall over the edge. There's a really big one just in there, and then we've got some smaller ones growing around, and there's another one over here as well. Now, I love the artichokes, and to me it's less about eating them, because I haven't yet, but I love how they look in the garden, and soon these ones that have really opened up are going to have purple flowers coming in the top. Not only do they just look really pretty, but the bees love them, so we tend to leave them to go off like that. There's some smaller ones that I think we're going to actually use this time, so I've got some recipes in mind that we might get them going for. These ones here have opened up too far now, and they're definitely here for the bees now. Our arch zone is just starting. Never see the bird just go. Our arch zone is just starting to take off with the snow peas growing now. We had a few false starts on these, where some of them got ripped out by the bird life, I think, and they didn't take off, but they're starting to go really well now. They're probably growing one of these in height every few days now, and I can just see our first flowers coming through. Now, snow peas are one of the things that I eat the most in our gardens when we're growing them, so I'm very excited to have these back, because we've been buying some from the shops that have just been super subpar lately, so very excited to have these back on the plate again. So the tomatoes in our control group for our experiment are doing really well. We've got the rouge here in the ends, so each end one is a rouge, and the three through the middle are the money makers, and they are starting to go crazy. Now, we haven't done anything to these other than give it a go of food recently, and we use the same food across all of them, and we've just given it the exact same amount of time. So the fact these are doing really well is awesome. They're really cool. They haven't required much more work than anything else. Just keep trimming off the excess. I probably haven't gone hard enough. I'm a bit too bit too nice to them. I don't cut them back as hard as I should, and it'll start causing grief, I'm sure, when the wind isn't getting through as much as it should. But no, these have been doing really, really well. Some of the other tomatoes in the experiment, I've given some of the dolomite stuff with the calcium to them, the ones that look like they were struggling. I'll show you those later on, but these ones haven't needed anything like that. It's just been really, really cool, and they're quite overloaded with tomatoes growing now, which is really exciting. We've started using these little clips that I got off eBay. Super cheap. They come in big packs if you want to get them. And basically it clamps onto the string tight so it doesn't slip up and down the string, and then it just goes around nice and loose around the tomatoes or whatever else you want to use them for. We're using them for berries now as well, and they've been so good instead of tying things off. And these are made that you can unclip them and reuse them again as well, so highly recommend getting some of those. For those that have been following along on our adventure for a while, you can see that behind us we've started to have moves on the shed again. So we went through ages there where just nothing happened for a while, but this past week they've come out, they've reset out, they've done the under slab works, and we've got the sign off from the building surveyor that it's all good to go. This week they're planning on pouring it, which is cool. The rain over the weekend has filled up some of the pier holes. Yeah. Yeah, they're bad. So they're going to have to get a water pump in and pump them out, because if they just wait for it to be dry, it's going to be forever again. But that's kind of normal par for the course when you do that sort of works. But we might have a slab by the end of the week, which is finally. Here you can see how the pumpkin patch is going. Now, for those of you playing along, we set out the pumpkin patch and it was awesome. And then within that first week, all of our seedlings pretty much got ripped out by the magpies. There was a baby magpie that just thought it was the best game in the world. Didn't even seem to eat them, just ripped them out and left them there. So we lost almost everything, but the giant pumpkins, which is this one in the middle here and the one down the back, they survived it, and that's pretty much it. Everything else, I think this fella here might have survived it, but everything else we lost. So we've had to replant everything up. I'll show you how they're going. Yeah. Now, I'm fairly aware that we've planted a lot of these probably too close together, but to be honest, I felt like we were going to lose some, so I just went overboard. Down here we've got some Halloween pumpkins. Now, I don't actually know what variety they are. We just saved the seeds from the Halloween ones we got from the supermarket. Now here, pumpkins don't actually come out the same time as year as our Northern Hemisphere cousins. So we'll get these around, I'd say probably March-ish, and then we'll just have to store them through until Halloween. The butternuts here are our least successful at surviving the transfers. I thought we lost them all. They're sort of clinging on a little bit, but I've got some backup ones growing in some punnets that I think we'll probably end up having to replace them with. These ones are our little sugar pumpkins. They're just really mini little ones. These are the Bohemian ones. They've taken off quite well. This one over here, I put it in when it was just bursting out of its seed shell. I didn't think it was going to survive, but it's doing just fine, so that's cool. And the giant pumpkin, which is taking off. I keep having to raise the net because it keeps getting wrapped around the leaves. I'm probably going to have to take the net off at some point altogether, lest it just grow into the net soon. So that's a problem for soon, but not quite now. I dare say this will end up taking over the whole patch, but you know what? It's all good. We'll just give it all a crack. So the orchard is overflowing with fruit at the moment. So we've got lots of apricot trees and lots of peach trees. They're all through the orchard, and then we've also got them on the other side of the house at the moment, and they're just super abundant. So hopefully they come through and we get a lot of them before the birds start taking them over. We've definitely seen there's been quite a lot that have dropped on the ground already from the birds having a crack. There's far too many to bag up. So we'll just see how it goes. Over here in the berry garden, we've got one of these. We've also got one that is down in the veggie patch, and they're meant to be snake deterrents. Betty's mum got them for us. They're just a solar powered disc, and inside it's got like a buzzer that goes off at a particular frequency that's meant to annoy the snakes and also rats. There it goes. It reminds me of that game of Operation that we had when we were kids, and you hit the side and the buzzer goes off. That's what it makes me think of. Now, I don't know if these really work. Most things that they say deter snakes don't work, but having said that, since I've had them, I haven't seen any. So it's just either good timing. It's just either good timing or they actually do work. So we'll see if we see any more through the rest of the season. They're definitely a little bit irritating, but we keep them away from the house so we don't hear them while we're in there, and we can just pull the lids off and detach the cable really easily if we don't want it to be on for whatever reason. For instance, before when I was down at the veggie patch, I just disconnected it down there so you guys didn't hear the beeping all the time in the video. I feel like they're just like a $2 shop special. So yeah, I'll let you know if we find any more snakes through the season and let you know if it works or not. In our grape berry zone, things have been going really well. The grape coverage has just gone awesome, and when it was raining the last couple of days, it was actually quite dry under here because it's really thickening up, which is awesome. So when the weather gets really warm, this is going to be a really nice place to sit out in the shade and enjoy the life. Over here we've got strawberries growing. Now, we had some really great strawberries that were just about ready and we did not net them, and they all got eaten by what I assume is birds, because it looked like it wasn't bugs. So we're probably going to lose another round again if we don't net them up soon, and we've just been a little bit lazy about it. So that's definitely on probably today's to-do list. Back down this direction, we've got our blueberries, which are looking really awesome. They're starting to get just about to the point where they're ready to go. We've got all the other berries growing through here. So there's blackberries, red currants, a couple of other things, but the ones that are giving us our most amount of excitement are the sylvan berries down the end. And Betty ate the first one of those this morning and it was really good.
They look pretty ready.
Yeah, let's get them.
Bit of grey stuff on it.
Just eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
That's really good. It's
Nice.
different to a blackberry.
In what way?
It tastes more magical.
Over this area we've got a few fruit trees growing. We've got limes, we've got oranges, and we've got mandarins, and then we've got the cherries. Now, the cherries we've netted up as soon as we lost the berries, because we knew that these were just not what we wanted to lose, but they are looking like some of them are ready to eat now. The rest of them, I didn't think that these would fruit up while we kept them in the pots. It's certainly been a long time that they've been in those pots. I thought they'd probably be root bound by now, but they've flowered and we can actually see fruit forming on all these as well. So as soon as the materials for the shed get moved down out of this area, we'll actually plant them into the ground and hopefully they'll take off from there. Tomatoes in this neck of the woods have all started taking off. There's definitely a lot going on. The one at the back there is probably struggling the most still, which we knew was going to be the case. They were the ones that I was a bit concerned that the barrels that they're growing in just weren't working out compared to all the others. There's actually fruit on all of these now, except for that one. Even this one at the front here in that other barrel is growing a lot of fruit on it at the moment. They're rouge and they're the granny's throwing, so I'm not sure if that's one variety is better than the other. These ones here and a couple of them down the back, they've had that extra calcium added in from that dolomite stuff, and since then they've really perked up. The little mini greenhouse is just my favourite neck of the woods in the garden. Things grow so fast in here. It's really fun. Obviously on this side, the tomatoes that we've got in the greenhouse are just going bonkers. Last time we checked in on these, which was I think a couple of weeks into the experiment, we noted that there was lots of flowers going on, but not much tomatoes. I was surprised that the tomatoes weren't appearing in here before they appeared outside. Now the way that tomatoes pollinate is that the wind or bugs like bees and whatnot carry the pollen around. They actually are self-pollinating. You don't need different ones to pollinate each other, but they do need a bit of movement, so the pollen falls down from one part of the flower onto other parts of the flowers. So I think that we've been shaking these to sort of mimic a bit of wind coming through, and I think just that style of doing it might have just taken a little bit longer for them to really start working, or we just got more vigorous the more we waited for it to start working. But it is working, and there's lots and lots of tomatoes on the go with these now. This one here is our first hydro bucket, and it's doing really well, and it's started to get fruit as well, so very, very excited. Again, we're using the clips on all of these that I showed you earlier on. In fact, I'll show you some of these. They just come in bags. They're real cheapies, just off eBay. So they come like this, just like a little U shape, and all you do is you fold it over, and when you fold it over, the string goes through this bit and it grabs, and then this bit holds on around. Sorry, that was terrible. And then you can unclip it and reuse it again. Over this side, we've got all the capsicums growing through the back here. They're getting really tall. We've got some eggplants growing here. And then at the front, which I don't think you can see, we've got a tray of sunflowers going. So we've got the teddy ones and just some ones saved over from previous years. So I can't actually remember what variety they were. They might have been the large sunflowers. But either way, we've started growing sunflowers a few times this season out in the garden beds, because we like to plant them where they're going to finally grow rather than transferring them. But every single time they just get eaten. As soon as they appear, something comes along and eats them. So we're starting some in the trays now, and we'll get them out into the garden as soon as they're at a point where hopefully they won't just get eaten off the bat. Just a few various seedlings going on. Some of them not far from being planted out in the outside world. So we've obviously got the fig trees going on at the moment, and it's overloaded. We're just waiting for those to ripen up. The lemon tree is going gangbusters, as it just about always does. There's lots of other bits and pieces going on at the moment, but we'll check in on those as we go through the season. One of our biggest news things for us at the moment is that I've finished up at my job. It was my call to make, I guess, and so I'm just going to take some time off between now and sort of probably Christmas, after Christmas. We'll see how it goes. Just to have a bit of a break off before I start looking to the new venture. But in the meantime, that gives me a lot of time to start doing a lot through here. So I want to get the farm stand up and running. I want to build the chicken coop. There's a lot of other little jobs that have just been kind of hanging on that we just haven't got to for ages and ages. So things are looking like the productivity is going to shoot through the roof around here for the next sort of couple of months, which is very, very cool. So yeah, looking forward to that. So we'll be back next week with a new video. Don't know what it'll be about yet. We're just kind of wigging them at the moment. We've got a few ideas of some upcoming videos. One of them which might be just the right thing coming into summer, and we'll find a use for all the mint that we've been growing. So yeah, look forward to that one. We'll catch you later. Bye.